Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I'm your host, Sean Garmer, here with me as usual, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And this is episode 474 of the show, and we have our Nintendo report card for this evening. As if you didn't know, we did a Game Awards reaction show on the Thursday night after the Game Awards. So if you want to hear our thoughts on all the our favorite games and the show in general, you can go watch or listen to that show. We'll talk about some things somewhere, but we're not doing a whole breakdown of everything on this show in case you're just you're only checking out like the regular episodes.
Right.
We are also Mark's been playing Ghost of Yotei, so he has some thoughts on that, and we have a few other news and notes here to get into as everybody's starting to wind down now that the Game Awards have ended, and it's officially now get into your Game Awards season for everybody.
Right.
So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get the show started right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right, so let's go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way here. If this is your first time listening or you're a regular listener or watcher of the show, we do appreciate you. Normally we do the show on at least on Mondays. The schedule kind of varies based on my work schedule, but we're doing it live right now around 7:15. But sometimes at 9, sometimes 6:30. But you know what's great is if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, W2 Network, and you ring that bell, all that stuff, you'll know when we do an episode, and you'll know when we're live, and it gives you a notification, and then you can just hit the button right there. And then of course you get that YouTube Premium, which for me keeps being such a great thing to have YouTube Premium. I think it's the streaming service that I use the most.
Yeah.
You can just have it on in the background like a podcast. Don't have to just have that thing there. But also we have other shows on the network, which is why you want to also subscribe. So if you like anime, you can go watch our Otaku Cafe folks. They are knee deep in the fall anime season as they're probably wrapping up things to do their best anime of the year, top 10 anime of the year, all that stuff that they do. And then also the Radisson Broadcasting folks that they do a fantastic job with all the movies and entertainment stuff. They've been reviewing all the seasons of Stranger Things as that final season is about to kick back up here and around Christmas again. And they've been reviewing all the latest movies that came out recently. So just last week they did the Five Nights at Freddy's 2. They've done the Wicked for Good, Zootopia 2. So, if you're interested in any of those, you could definitely go check them out too. So, but all right, let's go ahead and get talking about the games we're playing. I haven't really gotten to play much this week. I got a code for Unbeatable. I had all the plans to get home last night and start playing, and then got home like too late. It was like at
Yeah.
2 in the morning, and I was like, I do not feel like sitting up for this right now. And then, of course, because it's a rhythm game where you have to have the music on, I cannot play that while I'm doing something else.
Right.
Um, because I have to have the headphones on. It's not like another game where I can just have, okay, I can play it while the sound's off and, whatever. But this is a particular game where I have to have the sound on, and it's cool because another game that I really loved from this year. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot to put it in the. There you go. See what happens when stuff comes out in January and you totally forget about it. I forgot about Rift of the Necrodancer from my game of the year for the Outer Haven. But I'm sure I probably wouldn't have gotten in the whatever top 15 or whatever it is that they do on the site anyway, so it would have been in vain. But either way, they actually have like a soundtrack combination that they're doing that you can like buy both games and you get some games to play in Rift of the Necrodancer, and then you can play some the Rift of the Necrodancer stuff on that too. So hopefully next week I will have played it. It's apparently a short game, like 5 or 6 hours, and then I can have some more thoughts. But Mark, you've been playing that Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah, I bought a copy like last week. Because it's now it's around Christmas, everything's on sale.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I think Ghost of Yotei was only $40, and I bought a copy of. I haven't even cracked it open yet, but I bought a copy of Metal Gear Solid Delta for like $25.
Oh, nice, cool.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of? I think you liked Tsushima well enough, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
I don't think it was like groundbreaking or anything. I would say this is kind of more of the same, but it's kind of weird because Tsushima opened with like a pretty long ass intro.
Yes,
Like,
I remember that.
yeah, that people didn't like. Or I mean, it would have been fine if it was like an hour, but it lasted quite a long time.
Yeah, it just felt like it took a long time. I was like, I'm still in the intro. Like,
right.
Okay,
So this game does basically the opposite, which is kind of going in like slightly in the wrong direction, where it just like dumps you into it. Like it's just like here's the open world. Like there's barely any setup at all, and like you can go back to your old home. Like the crux of the game is like you're playing Atsu, and her family was like killed by this lord guy, and you like escaped it, and you're back like 15 or 16 years later trying to like get revenge on him. But like they don't open with the assassination at all, or like the killing of your family, or they kind of do, but it's just like you don't really know what's going on. Like it's just like
right,
like people being killed. Uh, and then you can like go back to your home, and then you can get like the backstory of like, oh, this is your brother was, or this is whoever. But like, I don't know if making it wholly optional is like the best idea ever. Because there's not really there's barely even a tutorial for like the gameplay. Like it's a you have a grappling hook. It's like how do you get it? You just have it. Like I wasn't aware grappling hooks were that common in Japan, but apparently they are.
right.
But
Well, hi to everybody in the chat. First of all, second, I would think that there's a lot of assuming going on that if you're playing this game, you played the first one.
oh yeah, but I'm not sure if like that's a good way to ease in new players, or maybe there should be like an option saying like, hey, I didn't play the last one, so.
And also because they made such a big deal about this is in a different place, different timeline. They're not connected really. You don't need to play the first game to play the second game. So it's like, so there's never a tutorial section at all. Like there's no.
When you get a new weapon, there is, and there's like a very
Okay.
light tutorial, like for like the flashback stuff. Like you have like a training, like a sparring match with like your little brother, and it's like, oh, this is how you block, or this is how you do stuff. But like it's pretty optional. Like you could just not do it, and the game never tells you like, hey, go do this.
Right.
They had to dumb down or kind of. So the thing in the last game, they had that standoff thing. You could like approach a group of enemies, and you'd have like a duel against one, and like basically insta kill them, and you can keep doing that, upgrading that for like 4 or 5 times. They nerfed that to hell. You can only do it twice now. Because they probably realize like, hey, everyone just does this and kills like 5 guys at once, and then just take out the rest real quick. But I'm enjoying it. It's more the same kind of checkpoint, like check mark off of map stuff for like, hey, here's a wolf den, which increases your wolf relationships for some reason, or here's an upgrade for like your health, or to a point for like your abilities, stuff like that. But it's all this like clearing things off a map and doing these like same 6 or 7 activities over and over.
Well, I heard the HUD is not as cluttered, right? Like it's not. They make you feel like you don't have to go to all the little icons and stuff, or is it still there?
Not as much. And like I said, it's so optional, and it's not even like story based, because you can kind of you kill one. It's a gang called the Yotei 6, and they're like responsible for killing your family. And you kill one at the start, and that is a little tutorial-ish in nature, I guess. But
Right.
all the other 4 or 5, they're just like, hey, do them whenever you want. It's not like a set path. It's not like an Assassin's Creed game or something where it's more linear story based. It's just like, hey, here's an open map. Go, have at it. Whatever you want to do, go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's good at least, so it doesn't, yeah, you feel like you have more. I heard that was like I mean, I didn't get to experience that much of Tsushima to be able to say that for me it was an issue, but I do know it was an issue for quite a few of it feels like you're just kind of following the path. You don't have a lot of options to kind of do whatever you want.
Right.
Um, except for the bunch of the side stuff, that
Yeah, and I imagine. Well, I do imagine that the last boss guy will be like this. Like you have to beat all 4 of the rest of the guys to like face him or whatever. But I'm not there yet, and it probably won't be there for a while. I will actually say, and this is odd to say, and maybe I just haven't seen like a big city or like really anything impressive, but like I think Tsushima actually looked better, like from a design perspective, or it just looked like more ornate or more like regal.
right.
Because at least where I am in this game right in Yotei, it's all just like crappy camps and like small settlements and stuff like that. Like there's no like impressive capital city or anything like that, But there might be down the line. Who knows?
Yeah, you still got a long ways to go there for that. So,
Right.
yeah.
And the other fun thing, I haven't even set it up yet, but I'll show it to you. I got this.
What is that?
That's my Analogue 3D.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did tell me you were going to get that.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, I got the Clair one.
Oh, cool. So for
Yeah.
that plays the 64 games, right?
Yeah. It has a little slot right here for him. Yeah, I ordered it like last Wednesday, and they shipped. It took a few days to ship it, but I think they shipped it out Saturday, or like maybe like Friday night, and I got it today. So that's really cool.
Hey, good for them that they're getting that stuff out fast. I mean, is there anything that like you can play all the games, or is there any that are like prevented?
No, you can play all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it has. They state like full 100% like backward compatibility. The big issue that they had when it launched a month ago was like it didn't have EverDrive support correctly. But the guy who makes the EverDrive like fixed it, so that's cool.
Nice.
And like the big thing I'm curious about, like there's an overclocking mode in this with this thing, so games can like run better or run faster. So that should be real nice because certain N64 games didn't run that well.
Hey, good. Then it does feel like you could play it on your PC all emulated and special, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think emulators do it like as well as this thing, but I'm not. Maybe there's 1 or 2, but like Perfect Dark doesn't need to run like ass anymore like it used to. There's like one weapon in Perfect Dark. I don't know what the name of it, but it was like the alien Gatling gun, where like the whole barrel would like spin, and it's like if you got that thing going, the frame rate would drop to like single digits
Wow.
because the game just like could not handle it. And it's like why'd you put it in here in the first place? Like
Yeah.
But
You would.
yeah, I just got it, and then I haven't even like turned it on yet. I was just getting everything ready, and then we have to do this. So, but I'll have more thoughts on it next week. And
Fair enough.
Ian's got one also. I think he got the orange fire one, but he hasn't got. I think he gets his tomorrow.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so, but I'm assuming it doesn't have like online.
Oh no!
play
This
and
is a
all.
strict
Yeah.
N64
Okay.
like clone console or
Yeah. So everything
But,
you do has to be, local or whatever.
Yep.
But hey, at least if you go visit Jens or Jens goes to visit you, you can
Yeah.
play there.
Yeah, I played some GoldenEye and Mario Kart 64.
There you go. All right, been playing anything else?
We got a little further in Cosmic Invasion. Like we unlocked like the Silver Surfer, and I think he's like the last character to unlock. But that's been about it.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get into the news then. Although there's not that much of it because most of it is from the Game Awards, really. And like I said, we already did an episode on that. So, and it was only about an hour. So, like I said, y'all can go check that out too if you really want to hear. Although I'm sure everybody and their mom has talked about the Game Awards at this point. So, it is what it is with that. The kind of big news that did come out today is that Marathon announced that they will release in March 2026, and they still were going to release for $40. There was thoughts for a while that maybe they would just Sony would just put it out free to play and try to recoup people that way with monetization and whatnot. But they have kept steadfast about this will be $40. Of course, this will also be multi-platform. So it's going to be on PC and Xbox and PS5. There's also going to be battle passes, but they will not expire. So you don't have to feel like you're going to miss out if you don't go and play immediately.
Right.
But, I mean, what do you think from what they show? I mean, they have like a 20-minute video doc that you can go watch. I could not watch this before we started doing the show, unfortunately. But I mean,
I
what do you
could
think
have watched
from?
it. I just don't care. My two thoughts is it's releasing at the same exact price as Concord did. Look how well that went.
I mean,
And
we don't not every game. I mean, I saw people comparing that the one that got announced at the Game Awards, High Guard as Concordish as well. It's like, guys, we don't have to compare everything to that game.
I
That
mean, we
was
do, and it's
real.
an arena hero-based shooter, or like.
I guess, but it's just like I don't know. It feels like we're just that's the go-to with that. And it's I don't know.
And also, I saw someone. I don't know if you follow him on YouTube or anything, but MVG Modern Vintage Gamer. Sorry, he talked
Yeah.
about the trailer. He's like, I never understood the hate this game got. It looks good, and I'm checking it out, and I'll check it out. And my response to him was, like, the problem with this game is it's preying on the nostalgia of like a beloved niche, but single player story based FPS, and this is some like nightmare fuel extraction shooter that no one wanted or cares about, except
Well, and
for
then also it's like the first beta wasn't very good.
right, and also like they
You
stole the the UI from that guy or a bunch of like art assets from that guy,
Yeah.
and
Which, to be fair, they did resolve that, and the
right,
person has come out and said that they are fine with that, with
but like
how it was resolved. But yeah,
there's no one at Bungie, especially like the old guard, if anyone's actually still like left from like the old Marathon games, who's like championing
yeah,
this thing. And
yeah.
who wants it?
I mean, the thing is, like, for one, it has to come out at this point. They spent a lot of money. Bungie has to recoup something,
Right.
for Sony because look, Destiny 2 is still doing all right, and supposedly Destiny 3 is very early into development and all that, but they have been working on this game for a while. Sony may not be putting about a bunch of marketing muscle behind it, but they've got to put this out. They don't really have an option.
Right.
And they're kind of hoping that the wave that Arc Raiders is on right now, or people are kind of, and the fact that Escape from Tarkov is out on 1.0, that people are kind of continuing to be excited about extraction shooters by the time we get to March. And then they will give Marathon a go here on this. So I don't know. Maybe it'll work this time. They are going to do like another sort of test here for folks. So we'll probably get the chatter pretty quickly.
I think the other thing is like they may expect it or they may want that, but I think games like Tarkov or Arc Raiders, they get so much more uh good feeling about them because that's an organic buildup
Right.
of players like having good feelings about it, good or bad. I mean,
Arc Raiders is a fun
Tarkov,
game. There's proximity chat as well,
yeah,
which Marathon does not have. Arc Raiders is very PvE based. Marathon is more PvP based.
right.
So at least the beta was, which left people with a sour taste as well. I don't know if this is enough time to fix a lot of the issues that people seemingly have with the game with the beta at first.
Yeah,
So, that's my worry is that are Sony just saying, because now it's interesting because I do remember when we were talking about Soros at the Game Award for the Game Awards show, I said, this had a release date before. Like, I know it did. And then I looked it up and it's like, oh, it was supposed to be released in March. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they pushed Soros back so they could
right.
release this in March. And then it feels like, oh, we don't have to dwell that long on, very similar to how they did with Concord and Astrobot, where we didn't dwell that long on Concord because immediately Astrobot came out and then we were all focused on that. So it seems like they have a plan in place, and Sony also kind of has like a backup of, well, if this sucks, at least we have another game to come out pretty quick to hopefully get everybody's attention.
Right.
Which, no, not great for Bungie, but I guess fine for Sony.
Isn't that what they did with Concord and Astrobot?
Yeah,
Also?
I just said that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry. But
they literally had Astrobot come out the day that they shut Concord down.
yeah.
So we'll see. I
mean, I might say stop with this crap. Like, I know you have these great plans for this Horizon bullshit, but
they're not going to. They're not going to. We just saw it with 4Loop.
Right.
With the Bad Robot game. They are going to keep going until they have another Helldivers. Like,
but Helldivers is another good example of what I was talking about. Like, that was a very organic buildup of groundswell of support, and it's not like the most innovative gameplay, or it's not like the best game ever, but like it just people got into it and they got their friends into it, and that helped. But the fact to keep forcing this stuff on people, people don't like the gaming audience doesn't like that.
Right. Definitely not. I mean, and we saw it again with High Guard.
Yeah, it just comes across like
oh
pathetic.
Man,
right?
Why are we doing this? I think there was a lot of that chatter as well with 4Loop because it's like, look,
like
some people have tried with Left 4 Dead stuff and it hasn't worked.
Right.
This looks like it may not. It also has like roguelike elements, so that's either going to be great or not.
Even that like John Carpenter game, it's like this feels like it's coming out like a decade too late. But
yeah, that's another one of those. Just like they've been working on this so long that it has to come out, right? It's like so. They can't really get an option of like turning back the clock with that. It's just, it's unfortunate. We keep seeing this. It's gonna keep happening until, especially when you have some success like Arc Raiders, just be able to like push the bubble further, right? Of like, okay, this is gonna keep going. We had another new entry into the space, so that's going to create more people wanting to see if they can also have a modest hit.
Right.
I just saw an indie that is doing like a battle royal based on Zelda, sort of not Zelda the property, but like a Zelda like premise.
Right.
And it's like, man, we are trying all sorts of avenues here. I appreciate that in a way. But also just like, look, I just have to get to that point of knowing that this is not for me. But I also got to know that people want it to continue to exist. Same thing with Ubisoft, right? Ubisoft just bought an Amazon game studio for a MOBA. which we know that who is it that has the big MOBA that's like it's also Sony. Sony has the Gummy Bear team working on that MOBA, right? And we've seen like Pokemon Unite come into the fray, and they kind of like are still existing, but that's obviously has the Pokemon name to it. And you got League and Dota out there kind of doing their thing, but Ubisoft has acquired the March of the Giants dev team from Amazon. They are March of the Giants is working on an upcoming 4v4 tactical MOBA that has you fight in lanes, command groups as you would. We know how much Ubisoft loves their multiplayer stuff. They're having all these service games.
Right.
Any chance of this being another hit for them?
No.
Right.
I'm reminded. I can't think of the name, and I'm pretty sure I viewed it. It was like a 360, I think, Ubisoft game where it was like a sky. It wasn't like Sky Battles, and I forget what even the gameplay was, but you had like your own little like Sky Kingdom. You could like battle against other people, and they killed it within like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like it's so like I think MOBAs are so dated at this point because you basically just have League and Dota, like, and all the other ones have come out, and no one cared. Even the Blizzard one came out, and it lasted longer than others, but that's
Right.
gone basically now. So the fact that trying to this, it's like, oh my god, like, are you guys really that desperate?
Yeah. I'm gonna assume that this wasn't a hefty deal here, where they don't really give
Right.
like big details on this right now, but they also are getting some former devs back into the team. So I wonder if they're going to stick around, because a lot of times when you see former folks come back in, they eventually leave.
Yeah.
So, they're having former creative director Rainbow Six Siege Xavier Marquis is coming back after 7 years of being gone from Ubisoft. Alex Parizu is also coming back. He used to be the managing director of Ubisoft Toronto. So I wonder if it has to do with that. Like, are they just trying to get Are they trying to get people, like the team, and not necessarily so much care about the game? Like, that is an interesting thought.
Right.
On
Plus,
that.
like that guy, he just came back to Splinter Cell. So.
Right. That too. You had Rod Ferguson come back with Microsoft when they bought Blizzard, and then he worked with Diablo for a while to launch Diablo 4, and then he left.
Right.
And then obviously Mike Ibarra came back, and he was swiftly gone. So that is what it is on that. We know his history with he seems to not like anybody there really, but
right.
That speaking of the former Ubisoft devs, one thing that was obviously apparent for the Game Awards was Clair Obscur Expedition 33 almost sweeping all the awards. Battlefield 6 won the audio design award, but I saw a lot of talk about should that be allowed? Should the Game Awards have some kind of limit on how many things you can be nominated for and or win? What do you think about that? Like, should they limit the amount of things you can be nominated for and or win at the awards? Or
that's like the dumbest thing ever. Like, no.
Yeah.
Because it's not like films get like, it's like, oh, this movie only got nominated for Best Picture, but forget the acting or music or cinematography or stuff. Like, it's kind of all fair game. And if this
Yeah.
one game is knocking it out of the park, way better than bigger games by more established studios, like, I might want to tell you something.
Yeah, I think the issue is, to me, it's the same as like the awards themselves, right? Like if you want to argue about, well, we shouldn't be having this conversation because Clair Obscur should not have been in the indie categories because it's not an indie. It has a publisher.
I still feel like that's a very dumb argument. Like,
Right.
especially compared to Hades 2 and Hollow Knight 2, basically. Like, those are sequels to already established and popular games.
But they still don't have publishers. That's the whole point. They're indie because they don't have a big publisher. Yes, Kepler is still smaller compared to like, Ubisoft or Sony, but I mean, still, it's. I kind of get that point, but I think it's also not Dave the Diver either, where it was like Nexon is this huge, like billions dollar company that is behind it, and you still put that in the indie category. Right. Again, it's one of these things like Jeff has to actually make the point to want to define that further. But then you get into the murky territory of like, are you then not? It's the same thing of like they used to have downloadable game, right? And people didn't like that term, so they took it out and just did indie. And it's like, well, then if you're going to further classify that, you're going to further put it into the weeds and you're going to make it even murkier. To be fair, this is the first time we've had 3 quote unquote indie games be up for game of the year and all that stuff. And I also think that that's kind of stupid. Number one, the whole point of being up for awards is because if you were that great and you were nominated that much, is because you deserve to be there. Nobody wants a participation award at the end of the day. Yeah, maybe it helps Kingdom Come Deliverance sell some copies if they get to put best RPG at the Game Awards on the box, or on the car, on the little, when you go and look at this thing in the PlayStation Store.
The accolades page or whatever.
Like, but to be fair, and that's a whole another thing on its own. Like, could Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or another game have won over Clair Obscur? Like, yeah. I don't think Jeff went out and got, like, that's still part of the whole thing. Is like, that is being voted on by all the same people. So you had enough people. Number one, you have to play the game, right? So you got to remember that KCD2 came out before, like 2 months before, or was it 3 months? Almost 3 months before Clair Obscur. And unfortunately, even though Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 got a lot of publicity and all that stuff, Expedition 33 came out and just wiped everything out. And then, of course, when you have all these people talking about this game and saying, "Oh, you got to play it," it's like when you have an opportunity to play one RPG, right? You're gonna choose the one that more and more people are talking about, right?
Well, also, even if Expedition 33 didn't exist, believe me, Kingdom Deliverance 2, whatever the hell it's called, wouldn't have been Game of the Year.
No, not Game of the Year, RPG of the Year, right? Because it was only up against like Outer Worlds 2 and
even that
Avowed, and like, so if Expedition 33 wasn't there, the majority thought is, oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 would have won and it deserves it, and I got robbed, and all the idea of like, that's where the idea came from of, oh, well, you robbed the one that should have been RPG of the year, because it's like, oh, you did, if you would have had a limit, then you would have had to limit Expedition 33 winning. It's like, listen, it got nominated, it won. This happens in award shows where movies win a bunch of awards. It's like,
I also don't see the logic of like, oh, this game is Game of the Year, but it shouldn't be nominated for our best RPG, even though it's an RPG. That's like
Yeah.
movie awards, like because movies typically have like best comedy, and then best action, or
Yeah.
best drama. I think not action but drama, and it'd be like, okay, Forrest Gump won best drama for the year, but it can't be nominated for best movie also. It's like, what? Like that's like
Yeah.
the dumbest shit ever. Or
And
like
also it's kind of common that the game that's good, if you're gonna win game of the year, you should definitely win your genre. Right? So I don't know. I get the sentiment, but I also think like that's dumb because
it's just people complaining that Expedition 33 is like popular, or that like they can't.
Yeah, it got overrated, so now everybody wants to hate on it. Right. And that's kind of understandable from a certain perspective of like you get tired of hearing about a game over and over.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. But hey, look, man, it's the same thing with Last of Us 2. It doesn't mean The Last of Us 2 wasn't great because you got tired of it, or got tired of hearing about it, or got tired of people praising it, or whatever. That's unfortunately that's what award season is. If you don't like it, it sucks, but it's gonna get it's just due most of the time, unless it's just like you got that kind of unless you got like the God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2 thing going on where it's like one or the other and they're both that great, and it's okay, well, some people are going to pick this, some people are going to pick that, Another thought that I also saw a lot coming out of it was Highguard is only getting all this crap because it was done as the one more thing. Do you think that's true? Or if they had done it in the middle of the show, nobody would really be talking about it.
I would say that's actually pretty true. Yeah. Because if they did it in the middle of the show, it would have been completely forgotten. Or if people would have just like tuned out or had a bathroom break or just been, all right, whatever.
Right. But which I think is why they probably paid top dollar to make sure it was at the end of the show.
Right. Because, but the fact that like Jeff is like, oh, when he says like, oh, I normally save like the last of the show thing for something way out there or like way epic, and then it's this thing. It's like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, it's like when you've had a Rebirth at Summer Game Fest, you've had Elden Ring, you've had so it's like you've had the big ones before, like the actual big ones, and then it's like, oh, it's this, and your whole pitch is that it's made by the former Titanfall devs, and it's like it has nothing to do with Titanfall.
Yeah, they didn't make Titanfall 3, or they didn't make some spiritual successor to that. Like I'd be more interested in that,
Yeah.
Speaking of X like Treyarch or X not Treyarch, I forget the name of the one the one Call of Duty company who split up. Infinity Ward, that's
Infinity Ward, yeah.
Can you fathom how bad Black Ops 7 is doing right now?
The fact that it's already on a half off sale is pretty bad.
Yeah,
it's bad for Black Ops, right? Like it's still gonna be like in the top 3 games of the year or whatever, So.
Right. Them going like, oh, it's gonna be some dominant thing or whatever, and it's like, okay.
Well, but it shows how great it is that you have competition,
right?
That you have Battlefield 6 doing great, you have Arc Raiders doing great, and people are playing those games instead, right? Yeah. I'm sure Game Pass is biting into that some, but obviously only on Xbox, because last year you had 82% of the purchases be on PlayStation. But the problem is when the game's not great, what's happening? You're not getting that word of mouth, and you're getting people going, you know what? I'm not buying this. I'm going to play this instead. So
the power of Michael Rooker couldn't convey them this time.
Yeah.
Compel them, I should say.
Does this excite you more or less that the Tomb Raider devs for Tomb Raider Catalyst are saying that you don't have to do any homework before jumping in to play the latest Lara Croft adventure that takes place after all of that stuff. This is like the current Lara Croft that you're
It's
going to be
probably
playing.
because like people don't want to play 3 games with the homework, especially if this is supposed to be like a new, maybe not like a new quote unquote new advent, like new Laura, but a reinvention, or especially that like last Tomb Raider game was terrible, like story wise. Like they made her such an unlikable character in that game that
Yeah,
it's
true.
hard to get back from that.
Yeah, I think the whole point is like even though it's the latest one, they are
Right.
trying to do like a reset of the timeline, right? They are trying to do like hey, this is the new thing. We're going in this direction. Those are a different set of games, even though they're made by Crystal Dynamics or whatever. And I'm sure there will be some kind of, touches here and there, like alluding to those games or whatnot. But it's like this is what they want to do going forward. So, if you're going to start a new trilogy, you don't want people having to play 3 other games to start the new trilogy or whatever.
And this is so Crystal Dynamics. Like,
yeah, exactly. Oh, what's up, Cube? So one last thing too. There was an interview with Automaton for Resident Evil Requiem director, Mr. Nakanishi. He said that we talked about like how are they going to do this with Leon and Grace Ashcroft, and he said it himself that in terms of gameplay, Grace and Leon's playable sections are almost equally split, with the structure being similar to Resident Evil Revelations. Leon isn't well suited for horror, hence the sections focus on action, and Grace is not a action star, so she does the stereo sections. And he says it almost feels like 2 games.
Yeah.
Does that worry you, or are you okay with that?
Like I said, like once they introduce like Leon, it's like, yeah, this is exactly what they're gonna do. Like Grace will be like not the damsel in distress per se, but like survival horror / investigation, and then he'll be the one that's like blowing zombies up and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as long as I'm sure that they know that they have to have this well paced,
right?
And
like the past, they've done really well with the past 2 games, so I've general faith in them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Village was great. I liked Village more than 7. There's people that like 7 a lot more than Village. So
I didn't play 7, but I really like Village. So, but really, the big question you got to ask is, when are they going to reintroduce Resident Evil 6's Jake Mueller? Everyone's favorite Resident Evil character.
Let's not. And supposedly also, according to that very famous Resident Evil leaker, Dusk Golem, he says that expect Code Veronica to come out in 2027, and it will get announced sometime next year, and then the Zero remake will come after that.
Yeah, that's what I'd do. Or it follows a better timeline.
Yeah, I mean, Zero's the one that we've kind of Code Veronica and Zero are the 2 most needed if you're gonna finally have that whole 1 through 4 done, where you can have everything in between and play it all remade or whatever. Yes, they kind of butchered 3 and all that stuff, but at least it's there, right? And you can play it, and you don't have to go. And especially Zero is just, nobody wants to play with those tank controls nowadays. So,
well, Code Veronica had that problem also. I mean,
right.
I'll be curious what they do after Zero, though. Like, to me, they got 2 choices. If they want to keep remaking crap, they either do Resident Evil 5, which you could argue is still new enough, maybe, but I mean, it could.
But I think that, remember, they're also like redoing the story and making it mesh together more as they do these games. So I feel like 5 and 6 will come eventually.
Or no,
Yeah.
the other option is to redo again Resident Evil 1.
Yeah, that too. They could do that.
Like,
Um,
because if you compare Resident Evil 2 and 3, they were basically the same game. But
right.
Resident Evil 1 is a far older Resident Evil 1 remake, I should say, is a far older thing than anything they've done. So
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was the first of the remakes before they really were into this whole let's
and it was a
start
game
remaking everything kind of thing.
and it was a GameCube game too. So it's like that's the same as Resident Evil 0.
Also, just thought I'd throw it out there. They just announced that Hollow Knight Silksong has sold 7 million copies alongside people playing on Game Pass. So pretty
What a
great for
small
Hollow
indie
Knight.
game.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember what the last number was for Hades, but I remember they got up to like, was it 5.5 million for Expedition 33? So
Yeah,
hey,
it's probably up there,
indies keep doing pretty great.
Right.
So that's always good to hear. That's kind of it for the news. So I guess we can go ahead and do our Nintendo report card here.
As a cat keeps trying to dominate me.
Yeah, as the cat's like, hello. I said give me attention right now.
Right.
Gotta love cats. That's why I do not have mine in my room at all. Because you will never know when they are going to jump on you or grab your attention somehow. So mine pissed on my bed, and now I've been trying forever to get the damn smell out.
Mine would never do that. He knows better.
And I happened to be like changing the sheets, so it was like bare mattress, so not a.
Oh yeah, even better.
Yeah,
that's called marking his territory.
Yeah.
Like, this is mine now.
The dog just kind of looks at him like, "What are you doing, dude?"
Right.
They've gotten to the point where they are okay with coexisting with each other. Because she normally would get mad and like go after him and whatever and bite him, and then eventually it just became it's like, okay, he's there, whatever.
Right.
But yes, we need to talk about Nintendo here because it's kind of a weird year because the Switch 2 has been selling like hotcakes. Obviously helps that you're the only new console around, as the PS5 and Xbox are, almost at the 6-year-old mark.
Right.
And then, you got that Wii successor, the next Playground, doing its thing. Outsold Xbox and everything.
Yep.
But yeah, the Switch 2, obviously off the back of Mario Kart, doing great. Donkey Kong Bonanza was respectably up there for Game of the Year, for sure. I think it's my like number 2 game right now. As long as I don't play something I haven't played yet that like usurps it, but I don't think it will. In the couple weeks that we got left before we got to do our Game of the Year stuff. So I think from that perspective, like, okay, I think, but Mario Kart's a bit disappointing as far as like what it does, but it's going to sell as people continue to buy the Switch 2s, and I don't think we have to worry so much about that. And then also, it's been shown that they will do they will do extra content for Mario Kart World at some point, right? Like that's just a matter of when, not if. You had Donkey Kong, but then it's like, as far as sales goes, obviously Pokemon ZA doing great, right? The last time we got any kind of update, I think they were at 6 million within like the first week. I'm sure it's blowing out of the water by now past that. Those were always going to sell, but it feels like ZA, very much like with the game that just released about a week and a half ago, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, where it's like, okay, this is a bit disappointing.
Right.
It's not what we obviously it helps. Doesn't help that they're both Switch 1 games also. Right? So I think you couldn't take advantage as much of what the Switch 2 would be able to do because they also had to work on the Switch 1. I know you played either game, but what's your kind of like take, I guess, overall of Nintendo's year, like looking at?
I think like Donkey Kong was a very good and new step for them. Like it's pretty innovative. The problem is their other games aren't picking up that slack. Or like Pokemon ZA is just like, all right, another one of these, and people don't seem especially happy with it. Prime 4 is like, okay, I mean the game was in development for so long, but it's like this feels dated, and like they could have worked around it a little, but like just the fact that like you still have like a silent protagonist, or it's like, why are we still doing this shit? Like you can understand it better in like when Metroid is on the NES, like they couldn't do voice acting, but it's like, yo, this is 2025, like.
And not only that, but you also have like the annoying,
the helpers, or
the helper characters that nobody seems to like.
I don't care about them, but the fact that she just like stonewalls them, or she's just like silent,
right?
It's like,
no
this
reaction.
Is really weird. Yeah, and even Mario Kart World, like what they have the open world concept, and it's like, okay, that's really neat and new, but you guys should have to fill it with stuff for people to do.
Yeah, it was almost like they threw it in at the not that they did it at the last minute, but almost kind of like they didn't have time to fully flesh the thing out, so they kind of just said, okay, we're gonna do what we can do to get this running, and then let's go.
Yeah. So like I think like that's their design philosophy is kind of getting more and more outdated, like slowly but surely, except for like the one game they really want to like work on, which was this year with Donkey Kong, which, hey, worked out for them, I think. But
that's because it feels like Donkey Kong had its Breath of the Wild moment,
right,
or Mario Odyssey moment where they truly got to go outside the box.
Yeah, that's what I mean though, when like they're making something new, or they're really creating something. Like it's not Kirby Air Raiders or Racers, or the hell that thing's called.
Air Riders,
like, Riders, yeah. It's like, who cares? Like, and the fact they like put Kirby out again, it's like, oh, we had added a few more levels for like the old Kirby game. It's like, great, I guess.
Yeah, that's another thing that was disappointing to me too, is a lot of the stuff that now I've been told that the content for that is pretty decent, but the fact is that all your new stuff, right? That you promoted is not like, a lot of the new content feels like absolute filler.
Yeah.
It's not something that I need to pay $20 for.
Right. Or even like the stuff in like Zelda. It's like, oh, we had a GPS support. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, but that's fine because you technically could get that for free if you are a Switch Online, and their Switch Online thing is so cheap that it's almost kind of like, why not?
Right.
But that's my issue mainly, is like the Mario Party stuff just kind of felt like, why,
Right.
the you mentioned the stuff for Kirby, but there was also another game that was kind of like, also why, and it's just like all this Switch 2 edition stuff that they do just doesn't feel special.
Right.
It just feels like a total cash grab. And look, this game is the Switch 2's had enough with the big indies like Hollow Knight, Silksong, Hades 2 coming, and then their own stuff, even Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment seem to get more positive reviews than negative.
Yeah.
that it's been fine, but it definitely doesn't feel like that 2017 when the Switch came out.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Where it's like you had the double bangers of Breath of the Wild and Odyssey. You had, Arms, which was new, even though most people didn't like it. You had Xenoblade 2, which wound up doing really well. And yeah, I mean, you have a Pokemon game here that didn't you have Let's Go Pikachu? Also, and then the Pokemon game here seems to be like fine, but it's not setting the world on fire, which has been a problem with Pokemon in general. And yeah, it's just like, all right. I mean, this is done fine for what it is, but you're hoping, especially the other issues with the Switch 2 dev kits that feel like there's so many like games missing, right? So many
Right.
devs missing that should have games on this already. A lot of the big ports that you would think that, I mean, it's what Shadows just came out recently for Assassin's Creed, and they did have like Star Wars Outlaws earlier.
Right.
Xbox hasn't put out anything on Switch 2, which is weird. Like, you wonder if that's a dev kit situation or just like them having to figure out how to do dev for the Switch 2. Like, it just feels like a lot of the indies are missing. Like, this is not, I mean, Steam is eating its lunch right now with the indies. Yeah,
Right.
it feels like, and they're just kind of telling them, oh, hey, just put it on Switch 1 and it'll work backwards compatible, which that's great in its own way. But, new system, people want to be able to play all the, new games. That's what's kept me from not buying a bunch of games for it, because right now it feels like, well, I could just get it on Steam or get it
Right.
on the other consoles, right? And if I wanted to play it on my Switch 1, I would have just done that on Switch 1. But I think also it's just I don't know if it's Nintendo deciding that on their own, or if it's just that it is a problem for them with the Switch 2 dev kits. But that's, hopefully it's something that they resolve next year. But it certainly feels like it just kind of, it's going to sell because it's Nintendo. I think that's not an issue at all on that front. But maybe next year for sure we'll start, and we'll get to that towards the end of what is coming for them as far as next year. The other part of Nintendo now is the other media, right? Super Mario Galaxy movie is coming. You got the Legend of Zelda movie that's shooting.
Right.
Are you excited for either one of these, or?
I guess I'd actually say I'm more excited for the Zelda movie personally. I guess we'll see how the Mario movie like kind of works out, but I kind of expect, I know what that'll be, but like a live action Zelda will seem more interesting. They do it right.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just because it's new, right? We know what
Right.
Mario is at this point.
Yeah.
Like, and even the trailer that we saw at the Game Awards is like, okay, this is more of that, which is
Right.
why I think I'm going to comfortably say that it's not going to surpass what the first Mario movie did at the box office, or do you think it will?
It might. I mean, the Sonic movies I think kind of got more and more profitable. I think I have to actually look, but like I think Sonic 3 like did
Yeah,
way better
Sonic
than the
3 was
Sonic
like
1.
the highest of them all, if I'm not
Right.
mistaken at all on that.
So it might be like a thing of like, oh, they just get more profitable because they keep adding in like more and more of the game shit. Or if they actually said like, hey, we actually have a game coming out this year, you know?
Yeah. No, you're right. On that, I mean, I feel like for sure there's got to be some. We know we're getting the Switch 2 version of what's it? The The 2D, most recent 2D Mario, that I can't think of the name.
Brothership
No, not that
or
one.
Wonder.
Wonder, exactly. Mario Wonder. So yeah, but I feel like we cannot go through 2026 without 3D Mario announcement. It doesn't have to come out in 2026, but
Right.
it's got to get announced, right? Like you're gonna go 2 whole years without Mario, 3D Mario.
Right. Yeah, I just looked it up. Sonic 1 made 320 million. Sonic 2 made about 400 million, and then Sonic 3 made just under 500 million.
All right, so they've been incrementally.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, with the Super Mario movie did 1.36 billion.
Right.
Like that's doubling what those movies
Sonic. Yeah.
did. So I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. But could they knock it out of the park with having all the extra characters and stuff like that? I hope so, because there was a lot of people that didn't like that movie actually, or they thought it was too childish or whatever. And there was also the nuance of like I think a lot of people went and saw it multiple times. I know I did because of the whole. It's like, oh, this is what we want video game movies to be. Like this is the when you
Right.
talk about love of the franchise and look how many odes to all the Mario games there are and all that stuff, and it's like, yes, we want this to be awesome, so let's make let's make the sales awesome so that they keep doing this. Maybe there is another go around with that for number 2. If it is great, the money will reflect that, as we saw with like Zootopia 2. People have been waiting so long for that. It was a really good movie, and it's done well at the box office too. So and I loved it. I really liked it. So I have faith in it. I just wonder, is there the chance that it doesn't do what the first movie did? Even then,
No.
doing like 800 million is still not bad, right? Like
Just look at how many people just saw, that Friday or the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Like quality doesn't matter. So
yeah, or a Minecraft movie even. Like it's not
right.
like that movie was awesome. It's just people enjoyed it, right? Because they love the
Right.
franchise, or whatever. And they made a huge deal about it at the theaters when people went. So, but I think Legend of Zelda, just because it is different and like, okay, they're gonna have to talk, right? Like you can't
No, it's
have
still gonna be
Link be silent the whole movie. Like,
no, that'd be pretty funny if it was. He just speaks in sign language.
yeah, it's like we're gonna see this, and is there a chance that there's? Hopefully, it's not. Hopefully, it is a really good movie. You would think that Miyamoto being involved, like he's gonna know, what to do, what not to do, that kind of thing. But it's just like it is different. It is live action, and it also is just like you get a bigger. There's a lot of things that I think we're gonna have to see Link do that either he hasn't done in the games or he can't because there's maybe a restriction on it being live action and all.
Go to the bathroom.
So yeah, I want to see how they do this, and could there be the chance that maybe it's not as well liked, right? But I do think, along with the theme park thing, like as far as like other media, Nintendo are really tapping into that Disney thing of just, hey,
Right.
we're branching out and we're doing it well.
Here's the thing: they kind of are the modern Disney because, like, if you
Yeah.
look at like the old established Disney characters, like when is the last time there was a Mickey Mouse movie? Like the 60s or
Never.
like
Yeah, I've thought
70s?
of
I mean,
the straight to DVD kind of stuff, right? Like,
right.
the
Or
only
like
time I really
Disney.
watch a Mickey Mouse thing is like for Christmas right now.
Yeah, Christmas Carol, and that was like
Yeah.
80. I think like early 80s, maybe, or like mid 80s, but still, like, there's not like they're not like it's the same problem as like Looney Tunes, kind of, but it's like the like Mickey and Bugs Bunny and shit are part of like the pop culture, but they're
Yeah.
so ingrained that you just can't like make a new Bugs Bunny movie necessarily.
Well, and then that's
Or,
the problem with them too, is like they can't even they don't want to do animated movies of their properties anymore. So like
Right.
it's all live action, and it's like, okay, you either get the Lion King stuff that has been absolutely blowing it out of the water, or you get
Right.
what a lot of them wind up being, which is like Snow White.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not Snow White, but I don't know which one's in the middle. Yeah, it's either
Nuance.
middling or you get Snow White. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, that's the problem there too. Of you don't have a way to expand those properties into the modern day. So thankfully for them, they do have this repertoire of new that has kind of like, you know, come out for them, like Zootopia and Frozen. And even though it's taken so long for them to make Frozen 3 that it feels like Frozen's kind of on the back burner as well, you know.
Don't worry, they gotta make Toy
Yeah.
Story 5 first.
Yeah, like I don't know where Toy Story lands on that, because like they were just kind of like feels like, even though Toy Story 4 did well, right?
Right.
And people were bitching about that existing, right? So it's gonna be interesting of like, are people gonna bitch and still go watch Toy Story 5? Because then you're kind of defeating the purpose. But you know, whatever it is.
But yeah, like Nintendo, they have a pretty long established history or like roster of characters they could make stuff out of. Like it'd be really cool if they made like a Metroid like limited series, like live action, or you know, make some Pokemon Kitty like a live action but Pokemon Kitty show or something like that. Like kids would go apeshit for that probably.
Yeah, I mean, but Pokemon already has all those movies, and those do incredibly well, even if they're straight to the streaming or whatever, you know.
Right.
Still, like, it's just, that's the thing about Nintendo. It doesn't really matter if we, as I'm about to go down the list here, of the Switch 2 has sold 10.36 million units, which is like 5 months faster than the Switch did.
Right.
Which is incredible. They sold, you know, the 3.5 million at launch in the first 4 days. They sold 20.6 million units of software, which is double the amount of Switch 2. So that means at least 2 games, if not more, are being bought with every Switch 2. So
here's a question: how many Switch 2 games do you own that are like Switch, you know, Switch 2 exclusive?
Just Mario Kart and Donkey Kong.
Yeah, actually the same thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at some point I'll end up buying Pokemon. I'm not sure, because you know, I got burned with Scarlet and Violet, so I was like, I am not running to buy this. And then I play it for like, you know, a day, and then I don't play it again. So, you know, I would have loved for Metro Prime 4 to be much more well received. I would have it probably also, if Octopath Traveler 0 hadn't come out on the same day, probably I would have thought about it more. But yeah, look, they do have some things coming up that for sure. I mean, the first part of the year, they are very well kind of okay. Even though, like, you know, Animal Crossing New Horizons Switch 2 edition, that could revive Animal Crossing for a bit there.
All right.
They got the Pokemon Pokopia coming in March.
I mean, that Animal Crossing is another good example of like, it's been 5 years since Animal Crossing 1, or you know, the last one. It's like,
by the time that comes out, it'll be close to 6. But yeah,
it's like, what are you guys doing? Like, why isn't there a new one of these? You know, like,
I'd imagine they're working on it, but I don't fault them for trying to like keep this going. But also, like, remember they killed really doing updates for it like really quick. It felt
right.
like.
So that again leads like lends further credence to like, what are you guys been doing? Because it's like, this isn't like No Man's Sky. You're not been updating this game every year for the, you know, for the past 5 years, or a whole bunch of really new shit. It's like you put out
Right.
like 1 or 2 updates, and that's about it. And it's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, but they do have that. They also have a lot of Mario Tennis Fever also coming in February. And then they have the Rhythm Heaven game and the Tomodachi Life game at some point.
Like Rhythm Heaven, that'll be good.
Yeah, I'm sure Tomodachi Life will do great numbers in Japan, as it usually does. And then they got some good third party support, at least for the beginning of the year, for some major games like Dragon Quest, Resident Evil, Requiem, remake is getting its port over, and Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined, all that stuff. So, it seems to be, it looks like it's going to be picking it up, but we'll have to see when we get that first Nintendo Direct in February at some point.
Right.
What they show and what gets announced. But what would you give Nintendo as far as the year?
I'd probably say C plus.
Wow, C plus. Okay.
Like, and I would say most of that is just because of Donkey Kong. Like, if it wasn't for that, you're looking at a C minus or D. Like,
Yeah.
the one thing they do have going for them is that, like, at least you can buy now. You can at least buy a Switch 2 console in a store. Like,
I mean, to be fair, like you could at launch as well, for the most part, and then you could during the holiday season as well. It's like people didn't have a problem buying them if they wanted them, right? It felt like,
yeah, but like even the Switch 2 at launch, like I mean, I got screwed over a bunch. We're trying to pre-order it, and then also
yeah,
like I kept saying like, oh, I still haven't even found one in a store. It took like 3 months for me to like see one in like a Walmart or something like that.
right,
So I mean, that's it. I mean, like their stock seems to be doing a lot better, like as far as having actual like consoles to find, or compare that to like, the Switch One, where it's basically impossible to find for like 2 years.
yeah. I think definitely we talked about the lineup wasn't as strong,
Right.
so that affects it, right, for me. And they didn't have. You still had like some major ones, like you said, Donkey Kong.
Right.
Pokemon is still there. Metroid Prime and uh, the Hyrule Warriors also count, even though they're not as well received. I would
I forgot.
say, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I forgot that Hyrule Warriors game came out.
Yeah, it came out on December 6th, and it was just kind of like, oh, it came out in that week where there's so much stuff.
I mean, I'll put it to you this way: I was just at a Walmart today, grocery shopping, and I saw like Kirby
Or
Air
November 6th.
Riders,
Sorry. Yeah.
stuff like displays and stuff more than like that the Hyrule Warriors thing.
Well, yeah, it is a spin-off, and it's mostly a Koei Tecmo joint with Nintendo providing their characters, So
Right.
Kirby Air Riders has all the merch and stuff that they want to sell. So, you do have that. It's weird. I want to, I want to say like B minus maybe, because, look, as whether their games are critically enjoyed or not, they are so ridiculous. The Switch 2, I think, did way better than I think they had any kind of indicators for. Obviously, the launch year is always kind of like overdone because people get hyped up,
Right.
and they buy it. And then in that second year, that's where you really start seeing, okay, does this have legs or not?
Yeah.
And so like that's where they got to prove it is, how many games do you have lined up? How many of them are not like Switch 2 editions or remasters, or because like that's the one thing the Switch had that the Switch 2 is not going to have the luxury of. There was so many games on the Wii U that nobody played. that they were freshly new for a lot of people that were playing them for the first time on the Switch. Like you got the last one of those this year with Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. And I don't think that they have anything left on the. There might be Yoshi's Woolly World and maybe one or two others that are like, we're talking about deep cuts that are left over there that we haven't gotten some kind of form on the Switch 1. So now it's like, okay, now we're talking about doing the Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 remaster. Like, are we talking about, what do we do? Like, when we finally, if we ever get the rumored Twilight Princess and whatchamacallit. Now that you got the GameCube Switch Online, will you get them? You know?
Or that Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remaster.
Yeah, exactly. Those two, will those come out? Especially with if Metroid Prime 4 Beyond doesn't do well, will they just kind of like slowly just keep those to the side and not people forget about them, it is one of those interesting things of like, you don't have this well of games. You are going to have to do a lot more new stuff. Not that they don't do that. They definitely do. And they have proven that they do. It just feels like, all right. I mean, are they going to start trying to do a lot more, like bring DS games and 3DS games, like they did with the Bravely Default Flying Fairy and like remastering a lot of that to kind of build out the portfolio a bit, because there is going to get to that point where, yes, you have the NVIDIA, tech in those chips that allow you to have the DLSS and all that stuff, but we've already seen it already in the first year of the Switch 2 of there is graphical limitations with the system already. So you can only imagine as we get further along, especially, we don't really know how much more graphically intensive the PS6 and Xbox, whatever generation are going to be. But when you get to that generation, it's the divide is going to be even more. So it is going to be interesting how long will they have big third-party support? Will it wind up being where it's, they live as the indie machine again, and then how many things can Nintendo put out themselves? Will you be able to continue to have this cadence of like one big game a month or whatever, which they've sort of kept in this half a year or whatever as well, but as we said, not that well. So we'll see. But next week we'll do our Xbox report card and see, because they were missing from the Game Awards as well. They didn't have a big game.
Here's an early preview. We're going to call that a failing grade.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. They had a lot of game releases this year. We'll see when we get to that in the next week. Until then, I think there are maybe a small number of games releasing in this week here that we have left. I don't know that it's a ton of stuff. They did have that Terminator 2D No Fate game did launch. So
finally came out. Yeah.
Tomba 2, The Evil Swine Return.
Yep.
Is out today. So I know you said you're not a big Tomba 2 fan. The System Shock remake or remaster does come to Switch and Switch 2 on the 18th. Well,
speaking of remasters, did you hear that the Deus Ex remaster got
it got indefinitely delayed.
Right.
Oh, I forgot to talk about what Casey Hudson said about Star Wars Fate of the Republic, but
don't expect it soon.
Well, he said it's coming to 4/20/30 because he ain't getting any younger. But I don't know.
You can say that.
Everybody says that, and then if you just started like 6 months ago, I don't believe it.
All right.
It's just hard for me to believe that is the case with how gaming is games are made nowadays. Divinity Original Sin 2 is getting a console. I already got a console port today on Xbox, Switch 2, and PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Um,
People are like pumped for it.
yeah,
You
well,
know,
especially after the announcement, for Divinity.
right.
So, you got My Child of Ages coming to everything. That's like a neat little kind of Zelda-like-ish. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora gets a From the Ashes. I don't know if you call it expansion or DLC or whatever.
I think it's just DLC or
Yeah, on the 19th, which goes in with those movies, the movie that's coming
Right.
out here this week. And that's kind of it for the major things, as everybody's kind of looking towards next year already. But all right, like I said, we'll talk about Xbox next week. And the week after that, we'll do our Game of the Year stuff. And then when we get into that first week of January, we'll do our most anticipated games of 2026. It's crazy to think we're already getting to 2026.
right.
But all right. Until then, everybody, enjoy your week. Get your Christmas shopping done. And see you later.
Later.